What's up guys, we just hit 10k recently, and in order to celebrate, I'm going to be doing some giveaways. That's right, this is a brand new Zen's Top Pro that I'm going to be giving away, as well as 15 other IEMs, so stay till the end for the rules. But let's just get into the Q&A. You guys had a lot of questions and there were very familiar, similar ones, so I kind of grouped them into a bunch of just like general questions that I'm going to answer, or else we're gonna be here for like 2 hours. But yeah, let's just get into it. Starting with the first question, a lot of you guys asked me how I got into this hobby, and I guess like how I started reviewing and basically my background story, right? Basically what happened was that one day I was just chilling, young Jay, listening to this bass boosted Sony earbuds, the wired ones. And then my friend who just recently got his Moondrop Blessing first, or was it the Araya? It's one or the other. He came up to me, he was like, yo, you gotta check this out. This sounds so much better than the Sony one, right? I was like, okay, yeah, okay, whatever. And I tried it out. And I was like, holy crap. There's actually like levels to this, right? And then after that, I was like, okay, I can't go back to like bass boosted Sony earbuds. So I started going online, went on YouTube, went on Reddit, found Hi-Fi Guys forum, and I basically just like, I was like camping there for like a good month, just asking questions, asking for recommendations. And then, I started just like talking to them, talking to people on the forum, and then got into just buying a bunch of random shit like CCA, early KC stuff. Eventually I landed on the Manger T, the original Manger T. So after I got that, I started dropping a bunch of impressions. I bought like even more IEMs, like a lot of HBB collabs, like the Kai, the Kailua, that's right, not the Kai, the Alina. I just started dropping a bunch of impressions and, just like reviews, mini reviews. Eventually I started my own thread. And then, I guess people liked it, so I started making videos. And when I first started making videos, I was doing like these like meme reviews. Basically, I took clips of like memes and then I just like put them together, and it was a faceless kind of video. That's why I'm wearing these sunglasses, because these are Thug Life glasses. They're like I guess a meme, you can say. So these are a throwback to the original, I guess, like how I started, which is why I still wear them for the OG viewers as well. I guess like sentimental value, I guess. And also there are lights, like 2 lights directly in my face, so I wear these to protect my eyesight as well. But after that, I just started dropping more reviews on YouTube, and eventually, just kept grinding, and then here I am. I got my own collab somehow. I always love music, so sound quality is like one of the highest priority for me in my life. I mean, aside from my friends and family and my cat, right? Aside from that, music is very important to me. So I try to find the best, like, like medium to kind of like portray the best musical experience, which is why I got into, IEMs, headphones. I also tampered around with headphones, but they were just uncomfortable to me. Like, I like listening laying down, and you just can't do that with headphones, because they're too big, and then like it moves it, they change the sound, and now it sounds bad, and then your ears get sweaty. So IEMs to me are just more convenient, they're comfortable, and the value, I would say, is still much better, and sound quality is also like very close before $2,000. I would say like after that, maybe you can make an argument that headphones are slightly better, but at that point I would just buy speakers, because like if I'm gonna spend $5,000 on headphone or speakers, I would just get very good speakers. But yeah, this leads us to our next question. Someone asked me if I, ever wanted to review headphones, or like the main difference between headphones and IEMs. I am open to reviewing headphones, but it's just that like I don't have a lot of time, and headphones are a lot more expensive. I have to buy a lot of them. For those who don't know, I buy a lot of my IEMs. Like sometimes I might get like a review unit here and there, which is always welcome. So shout out to my channel members for helping with the shipping, the customs, and just like helping me buy more IEMs to review for you guys. I bought the Vulcan 2 recently, and the custom alone was like $70 USD. So like, yeah, like if I'm gonna buy headphones, it's gonna cost a lot more, and I just short on time a little bit here and there. So maybe in the future I will do headphones. Like maybe I'll make like a top $100 headphone guide, $200 headphone guide, etc. And as for sound quality between IEMs and headphones, from the ones that I've tried, for example, the LCDX, some of the Focal stuff, I think that's the Utopia. Is it the Utopia? Those are like the most expensive headphones that I tried. Versus like the most expensive IEM that I tried was the Subtonic Storm. If I were to compare them, I would say once you get up to past like the $2,000 mark, they sound very similar. Like I would say headphone is slightly better in the staging, obviously, because it's open back. The imaging is a little bit more accurate, it's a little bit more centered than IEMs, which is like a little bit more like, to the side and more like in your head kind of sound. Headphones, it's a little bit like wider, kind of like speakers, but not really speakers. But in terms of like detail, like vocal clarity, they're fairly similar. It's just that the soundstage and imaging is maybe like a slight edge to the headphones. And then for vocals and detail, I would say IEMs are better value. Like you could probably get a headphones that does everything better than the IEM, but it's gonna cost you like 5K plus easily versus a Storm, for example, right? So in terms of value, IEMs, I would say it's still better than headphones. But speaking of value, some of you asked what my favorite tuning is, like technicalities versus tuning. So for that, I would always go with tuning because like you can have very detailed sounding IEM, for example, the Cantor, the brain damage. Those are all very detailed and technical, but they're tuned like shit, and you just can't listen to them for like a prolonged period of time, especially if they have like a brighter leaning, treble boost kind of sound. It just gets too fatiguing. You can't listen to it. It takes you out of the music. So in that sense, I would always take tuning over technicalities, but you do need some technicalities because or else it's gonna sound a bit too like muddy, a bit too congested. The separation isn't there, the clarity isn't there, and you can't reach, that level of immersion, I guess, being like super, in tune with the music. So you need a bit of both. But if I were to pick, I would take tuning over technicalities any day of the week. Now, as for my favorite IEMs and some of the worst IEMs that I've tried, I think the worst ones that IEM wise is probably like early KZs. I don't know which unit, but it was very peaky, very bright. It sounds super sharp, super unrefined, just very bad. It's just very bad all around. I don't know how else to put it. I would say nowadays, you can't really fuck up an IEM too bad. You can maybe make it boring, like an all-rounder, like Harman, just too much all-rounders these days. Too much like balanced, safe, like works for everything kind of sound. But there aren't too many horrible IEMs. I think the worst one that came out this year was the Hi-Fi T2 Mark II. Now that looking back at the OG was kind of bad. But it was like gassed up. People were like hyping it up back in the days. And then of course you got the very bad value ones like Moondrop. So this is not like worse in the sense of just like sound, but worse in like the value, the price you're getting. Yeah, like that would just be a lot of Moondrop stuff. And which leads us to another question that is like, why do you hate Moondrop? I don't hate Moondrop. It's just that their IEMs are very bad value, and I'm just trying to be 100 with you guys, right? If you're gonna money is hard to make nowadays, right? So I'm not gonna just recommend you something overpriced. Like that's why I quote unquote shit on Moondrop, is because I hope they can just make the value proposition better. But that aside, going back to the question, my favorite IEMs would probably be the Arcanist for vocals, Mystic 8 for vocals, RS5 for vocals. As you can tell, I love my vocals. I love listening to ballads, like indie stuff, acoustic stuff. So vocal IEMs are very important to me. Those three are probably one of my favorite. And then the pre-production Condenser 12 was a banger. I don't know why they changed it. You can't really get it. Maybe you can message Joseph, have him like custom tune it for you. I don't know. But and then Subatomic Storm for like a benchmark neutral balance set. Those would probably be my favorite. I also really like bass head IEMs like the HBB Punch, the Martellos, like the Deuce. Those are all pretty nice if I just want to like slam my brains out. The Origin is also pretty good, right? So I would say I lean more towards the more different, unique kind of tuning sound, because all-rounders are nice, right? But like if I'm trying to like just lay in bed and be one-on-one with the music, I want something that fully connects with me, and those will all do it better than versus something that's like, all-rounded. Next question, what are my daily drivers, my rotation, what IEM would I leave the hobby with, and a 1K setup recommendation? Okay, so starting with the daily drivers, currently I am using the Arcanist for vocals, Mystic 8 for vocals, EGO, well, I don't have the EGO 7 on me right now, but I would be using that just for like a like a immersive high volume scaling set. And then for something that's more bassy like hip hop R&B, I have the Estrellas. For something like an all-rounder, I'm using the Dunu Glaciers right now. Those are pretty nice. And for a bass set, I have the Punch and the Martellos that they're just very bassy, very fun to listen to if you want a lot of bass. Rotation wise, yeah, that would be my like rotation. But as for the IEMs I would leave the hobby with, okay, let's say 5. Number 1, I would say original EGO 7. Number 2, the Mystic 8 for female vocals. Number 3, the Arcanist for just like vocals in general. And then probably the Estrellas for something more exciting and bassy. And for an all-rounder, oh, that's hard. I'm gonna say Odyssey or the Glacier for an all-rounder. Either one of those two. But if I were to only have one IEM, I don't know if I can do that. I'm gonna say the Arcanist or the Age-07s because I value immersion and vocals, and either one of those do vocals and immersion the best. And then as for a 1K recommendation, I prioritize variety and also vocals. So for me, I'm gonna for the DAC, the source, I'm gonna get a Cortalex 5K. I think it's like $110 or something like that. Very compact, very convenient. Also very good just in terms of the sound. It's also Bluetooth and it has enough power to drive pretty much like most IEMs, right? So as for IEMs, okay, I want a bass head, so but I don't want to spend too much. Like I don't want to spend $300 on the Punch or the Martellos because like 1/3 of the budget, right? So I'm probably gonna get the KBF Rossfinch for bass head. It's $15. It slams like crazy. Obviously, you're not gonna get like amazing technicalities, but you know, for $15, if you just want bass head, those are very nice. And for vocals, I would get the Arcanist because you can get it for like $330. The Mystic 8, the RS5 are both too expensive. Mystic 8 is $900. RS5 is $550 on sale even, right? So pretty pricey for the budget. So, and then something warmer and that's better for like rock and metal, probably like the RD T10 Pros. Those are a mini Symphonium Meteor. Very good for the price. It's $90. Warm, thick, but still airy and very enjoyable sound for rock, metal bands, etc. And then after that, probably in an all-rounder. And since I'm already past budget, I probably can't get the top pros, so I'll probably get the Super Mix 4 for an all-rounder and like a technical kind of set because it's very cheap. You can get it for $135, and it's also just like a good all-rounder. And maybe I'll buy like a 300 mesh filter if I find the upper mids to be a bit too shouty. So let's just say roughly $700 after tax and everything. So $700 so far. We have $300 left. Okay, so we already have an all-rounder. We already have a vocals. We already have bass head. We have warm. So we need like a treble or like a treble, like a something with a little bit of treble and something with like a sub bass, bassy but not bass head level. So Estrella, treble and bassy. There you go. You can get it for $250, so it's right under $300. Boom. But speaking of the Estrella, some of you guys have been asking what I learned from the giveaway and my philosophy behind just why I made it and what I would have done differently. So starting with the tuning philosophy, I wanted to make something fun and engaging. I didn't want to make another all-rounder because back then there were just a lot of all-rounders coming out. Everything sounded the same and it just sounded kind of mid to me. So I wanted something that stood out, something that was a little bit more energetic, you know, bassier, but you also have the sparkle and the technicalities as well in the treble. So that's what the Estrella was, and we did that pretty well. What I would have done differently is ask them to include the Sankai tips and the like a better cable. Like I did ask them, but like I should have pushed a little bit harder. The cable isn't the best on the ZGAT stuff, so a nicer cable would have been better. But then again, we were already using very good drivers with the Sonyans, the Hummingbird. So price-wise, it was kind of hard to hit like a better cable while having the, you know, branded Knowles and Sonyans. But I wanted to include these Senkais because I tried them, the Senkais, and they sounded perfect to me, which is why I was like, we should include the Senkais. It smooths out the sound a little bit more. It makes it more like, you know, closer to my ideal tuning that I wanted to for the Estrella, right? But that didn't happen. We couldn't get a deal with Tungzu, and if I included the tip and a better cable, it would have bumped the price to probably like $350. And I wanted to keep it under $200, and I think that was the correct decision because if you want, you can't still buy the Senkai separately, right? In an ideal world, I would have wanted to include a better cable and the Senkais all at $300, right? But that's not possible business wise. As for some other takeaways, I definitely would have liked more creative freedom on the collab because I was able to negotiate the tuning and the faceplate a little bit, but they already had like a set design, like a mold, like the packaging was already set. I didn't have much like say on that. So I would have liked more just freedom on just what boxes we're using, what cable, what tip we're using, how it looks, how the boxing, the album packaging looks. I guess I can talk about the timeline. So basically, it took around 2 months to 3 months to make the IEM. After they made it, they sent it to me. I listened to it and then gave feedback. They changed up the sound, gave it back to me. I was actually in China, so I was just straight up able to go to like the office. So it made things a lot faster that way. But normally it probably would have took a little bit longer if I wasn't in China. And after that, we picked a date where I would announce it. And coincidentally, it was around August 8th. It was my birthday, so I was like, okay, let's just announce it on my birthday, whatever. And then after that, people started putting in pre-orders. So shout out to everyone. Thank you guys for supporting me, getting the Estrellas. I hope you guys liked it. But the pre-orders took a bit longer because they got a lot of orders and they don't want to screw up the QC. If I were to do something different, I would make sure that the reviewers got their units first before I released the video, because I was under the impression that they already got their units. So I just kind of released it, and then everybody releases the reviews at the same time, right? But that didn't happen, and it just looked like I was just shilling the Estrella, right? So maybe next time, better communication with Linso or something. I did message the reviewers, so I don't know. But the other thing was that there was a lot of like hate for no reason, so next time I'll just ignore it. But except from that, I would say it's a pretty smooth rollout overall, and Linso is definitely goated. Those guys are just so chill. They don't care if I write a bad review, unlike Hi-Fi Go, unlike just these private companies. Like, they're just they don't want you to shill the product, right? But Linso is chill. They don't care. So shout out to Linso. But speaking of hate comments, next questions, we got someone asking, what do you love and hate about the community and the hardest thing as a creator? So the hardest thing as a creator is mainly just coming up with ideas, because I don't want to put out the same shit over and over again, right? But it's very hard to put out banger videos that people will like for like in the audio niche or whatever you want to call it, right? So if you guys have any ideas, drop it down in the comments below, because I'm going to pick out a winner anyways. Stay tuned for that near the end, the giveaway. But let me know like what videos you guys would be interested in, because I do want to make better videos and not just like sit behind a green screen and talk in front of the camera, right? That aside, another annoying thing is that there are just a lot of like dumbasses and haters in the comments. Like, I don't know, they're just like yapping for no reason. For example, this guy, like, he's saying that I'm lying by showing you like a comparison of the two graphs. Like, what do you want me to say to that? Like, I am showing you the graph for a better comparison. Like, if you're saying that I'm lying about not having the IEM but still showing the graph on my database, then you're just slow in the head, bro. Like, the only reason why the graph is on there is because I graphed it, and in order for me to graph it, I need to physically have the IEM. Now, sometimes I do forget to graph my IEMs. Maybe I just don't have the time, I'm busy, or like I'm at a friend's place trying out his stuff and I just bring my rig, right? So sometimes I might use some other people's graph, but I'm not gonna just like graph sniff and not listen to the IEM without reviewing it, right? So, which is why if you're gonna comment without like thinking, then I'm just gonna roast you. I'm just gonna call your ass out. Right? Like, you deserve it at that point. As for things I love about the community is that people are in general very friendly. They're very chill. For example, I was able to make a lot of friends on Hi-Fi guide forums. We still keep in touch. We have our own chat. We just talk about life. I send IEMs to them to try out. They send some IEMs for me to try out. For example, the Subatomic Storm, my friends sent it to me from the States over to Canada, a $5 IEM just sitting in a box. Straight to Canada, right? So, but he also got the shills, the haters, right? Like, a lot of these reviewers, they don't get paid, but they shill the crap out of products, right? Okay, maybe some get paid. I don't know. I never got offered like a payment. Actually, no, I did get offered payment. I turned it down. But some people are saying that like, oh, how much you get paid for this review? It's like, bro, I don't get paid for the review. There's just a lot of shill, a lot of like snake oil stuff, the cable guys. And sometimes I do catch a sniff of like elitism, where people are like, oh, you only have the monarchs. But I think for the most part, audiophiles are on the chiller side. Like, if you compare it to the K-pop stans, the Cardi fans, oh my god, like the NBA guys, the sports guys, those guys are intense. And finally, some of you guys have been asking if I have another collab coming. I am working on something, but I am not sure if it's gonna be released. I don't know if they're actually gonna come out, because I don't want to release like just another mid IEM. Accessories are mid, everything else is mid. I don't have like any creative freedom on the actual product, right? There's no point in me just shitting out collabs. So if I do have a collab, I want to make sure that the collab is actually good, then you're getting good accessories, the price is great, the drivers are great, the sound is great. If it doesn't hit that criteria, I'm not gonna release a collab. Probably just gonna cancel it. But that aside, as for the giveaway rules, all you need to do is be subscribed, comment below in this video and the upcoming 5 videos, and let me know what kind of videos would you guys like me to make, or just in general, like how you started on your IEM journey. Any comment would work. I'm gonna randomly draw a comment, as well as my Facebook page. I just started a new Facebook page. Give that a follow and comment below on the post. So basically you get 1 vote if you follow me and comment on my Facebook stuff, and you get 1 vote if you're subscribed and you comment on this video below. So 2 votes in total. And as for the channel members, you guys get an additional vote, so 3 votes for you guys, because of the support that you've shown. Without you guys, the shipping, the custom, the buying IEM stuff, it would have took a toll on my wallet, let's just say the least, right? So shout out to you guys for always supporting me. We have a total of around 15 IEMs this time. We got the Top Pro, we got the Condense, we got the Raise, we got the Adonis New, we got the Etude, we got the Lush, all from Linso. Shout out to Linso. And then as for Meyer, we got 6 IEMs from Meyer. Shout out to Meyer. And as for EBZ, we got the Q1 Pro from EBZ, we got the Kafine Quatio, the new IEM from Kafine, and then lastly we have the Hydus MK12 and the Lecture DX1 giveaway from Lecture. Shout out to everyone that is participating, and good luck to everyone, and I'll see everyone in the next one.
Special thanks to Dom Q, Rark's Cat, Mystic Spoon Attack, B Urak, Discus Goddess, Walker Standard, Patrick, User, Oh Really, Contain Guava Juice Gains, Mr. Gorillas, Polly J, Giseng Young, Christopher Jackson, Henry Claudia, Son of a Horse, 777ZK, Wizard, Obi, Trouble Well Extended, Freakalicious, Ricardo, Tapis R, Choco Norris, Tamat, Shrimp Backleet, FKSRG, Cousin Fat Fat, Julius Phillip, Dead Riddle, Billha, Armor, Rhythm, Parham, Gerbilis, Nicholas, Jasper, Brandon, Addy, Syracuse, Harder to Play, Wayu, Michael, Denir, Jacob, and Venetius. Thank you guys so much for the support.